We're following breaking news out of Washington. Congressional Republicans, using one of the oversight committees, have now released over 30,000 pages of Epstein-related records, which they say they got from the DOJ. Now, this is a big deal because if you go back to the middle of the summer, Trump and his allies were claiming they wanted this story done and over and not coming back in the fall when Congress reconvenes. On the other hand, we're just sifting through these now. Some of the materials are obviously not new and thus not really effectuating some great new insight. For example, we can see in the early summary of the records, it includes the DOJ Maxwell interview, which, if you watch the news, has been out for some time. With all of this swirling around on Congress's first day back, I want to bring in Maya Wiley, former SDNY civil prosecutor. Andrew Weissman, Legal Eagle, is still here. Maya, something is happening, but that something may be nothing. When you look at this, some of the items, of course, as mentioned, are not new. And thus it raises the question whether the Oversight Committee is trying to do a thing or just look like it's doing a thing. On the other hand, Trump would rather that none of this was being talked about. He's asked for that. So how do you view this sort of pseudo-transparency?
Well, first of all, what took him so long? Second of all, remember that the news that we had already seen today was that there was a very strong possibility that Congress would push to get these released anyway, and that there were already some key Republicans, including ones that support Donald Trump, like Marjorie Taylor Greene, saying she'd sign on, she'd agree that they need to move this out of committee and really get action on the Jeffrey Epstein's files. And that's because the base itself, as we've talked about before, Ari, wants to see them. It was something that was a commitment.
And just to slow you down, I'll let you continue. You're sort of reminding everyone, and some people are coming back from summer holidays and better topics than this. You're reminding everyone that the pressure was coming up through Congress because of this discharge petition, that basically Mike Johnson was losing control of this decision either way.
That's correct. And discharge petitions, this sounds very formal, but all it really means is when leadership isn't moving, when something's not moving through committee, it's been sitting around for a long time, it is possible for the members of Congress to simply say, look, there are enough of us that want it out there that we're just going to skip the line here and push it and have it done. And that's why I'm saying we had people like Marjorie, we had a Republican, Representative Massey from Kentucky saying, I want to see him out, and Marjorie Taylor Greene signing on. They only needed 3 more Republican votes for the discharge, and that's important to note because the way I see this is their hands were forced.
Andrew?
I don't do math in public, but this is the way that I look at this. You mentioned that they released today roughly 30,000 documents, but the government has said to a federal judge that they have 300 gigabytes of documents pursuant to the investigation they did into Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey Epstein. This is a pimple on an elephant. I mean, this is a grain of sand on the beach, whatever metaphor you want to use. I mean, talk about death by a thousand cuts. I mean, this is such a event in terms of if you actually want to have transparency, where are the 300 gigabytes of documents? You can redact names of victims and certain personal identifying information, but this is not transparency.
Maya, why are we still talking about this today? Johnson famously adjourned Congress early to just try to get some time and space away from this. And now it's the first thing roaring back. And I'm going to play in a moment. Everyone's expecting this press conference tomorrow where we're going to hear from more of the Epstein victims. But so why are we back to this?
Well, first of all, I think Andrew said it well. This is not just about what is true transparency and the fact that it hasn't gone away because Donald Trump himself and his own leaders made this a major issue for their base. Their base isn't going away. And I think you at least showed an image of Haley Jackson's interview with survivors who are coming forward, are very angry. It's very clear that the American public is saying, why are you hiding it? You know, the why question is a big one, and it's not going to go away. because as a community of folks across the political spectrum are making clear, it's like this is just too big. There are too many victims. There's too much that has been said in public about what exists, and it isn't going to go away. That's been clear for a long time, and certainly that's why we see this, the committee releasing what it's released. At the end of the day, it's about what the Department of Justice is going to release and what Donald Trump is going to allow, which is why the fight's going to continue.